Hello everyone, welcome to a new part in this series. In this episode we are going to continue with our weapon and combat setup. So first things first, let's start off with setting up our one-handed and two-handed weapons. So what I did is I renamed the revolver folder to one-handed, and I renamed the pistol to one-handed as well. Now yes, this will still primarily be pistols, but you could be adding revolvers to it as well, which would already be a different category in a way. So just renamed it to one-handed, nothing else. And then for the name we'll do the same, one-handed. Because there's no mesh here. Mesh is now handled by our inventory. So basically we're just doing one-handed. So we create a new folder here, and that will be two-handed. There we go. Here I'll just create a new weapon, which will be two-handed, as you might have guessed. We'll create new ammo as well, which will be I'll call this ammo just to get rid of the confusion. The other one was bullets. We can call this ammo. Ammo basic single, so as in single fire. And the reason it's it's single fire is because we'll have like three modes. We'll have single fire, two-handed weapons, we'll have burst two-handed weapons, and we'll have auto. If you're really going to expand on the system, you'll have many more, obviously. But yeah, we'll just keep it at those just to show you how to set it all up. Then let's have a look at our one-handed. So the only thing for now, and this is just temporary for now, that I want to take over is models and prefabs. Don't really need anything else. So let's duplicate these. There we go. And let's drag them to two-handed. Now, when it comes to impacts and everything, I'll be using crypto impacts and muzzles, something like that. Can't remember what it's called. We'll be using that, and obviously it will be linked in the description. The reason for that is because it has an entire impact system based on different materials, and someone was so kind to create some actions and integration on the Game Creator Hub for it as well, making it obviously incredibly easy to use. And it just makes the whole, having the proper impacts on proper materials so much easier to set up. And they look amazing. They look amazing as well. Cool. So what we want to do here is we basically want to, set this up to be pretty similar to what we did with the revolver, pistol, one-handed weapon, whatever you want to call it. Because in reality, there's not that much that's going to be different. Obviously, we need to drag in our new default ammo. Audio clips, I don't really have any audio packs at the moment. So, I'll just leave it as is. I'm even going to remove them from the revolver, as from the one-handed, as it's not really matching. The biggest thing here is going to be our states, so we need to be dragging in new animations and the model. Now, for the, like I said, for the model we have here, is I'll drag in that revolver, and we'll just be messing with placement. That's what it's going to be. We'll just mess with placement until we get it right, just like we did with the other one. So for the position, I'm not going to do anything yet. I'm going to do it actually exactly the same as for the one-handed one, and we'll take it from there. So I just want that to be exactly the same, just so we have the same placement option as with the other weapon. There we go. And the last one. Perfect. So when it comes to the states, that's going to be the most amount of work. Let's actually rename this to something more fitting. Let's call it weapon placement. There we go. That seems a bit better instead of having revolver there. So yeah, let's set up the states. Now, like I mentioned before, I'm using MoCap online, which I really like. But if you have something else, you know, use something else. Use whatever you want, really. So we'll need to set up all 4 of these. So yeah, we'll need to, you know, this is going to be a bit of work, but we need to be setting up all of these. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to set up the default, simply because it has running, etc. as well. Same with aim, and then based on those I'll set up the crouch, because as you remember, you can't crouch and run at the same time, but we have them there just in case something doesn't properly overlap straight away. So we'll start off with the default and the aim. Let's rename them to two-handed aim locomotion and two-handed default. Cool. So yeah, I have their rifle pack as well, and you know, luckily they do make it easy with just having in place, and we have a loops folder. Just saves so much time because there's so many animations. And yeah, I'll just be dragging these in. When it comes to the naming, you will see the exact same thing, but it will be W2 instead of W1. Cool, so see you in a bit. So all of our locomotions are set up now. So when we have a look at two-handed aim, all of these should basically be the same as for the pistol if you're using the same animation sets, but then it should be W2, and that's it. So it's the exact same setup, no difference. Now if you're wondering about weapon switching and entry and exit clips, not here anyway. We'll be using gestures for that, and there's a good reason for that as well. Simply because in our setup we are reconfirming locomotions several times, like quite often, and then basically every time you'd aim you'd have animations for weapon switch, etc. So we're not doing any of that. We'll be controlling that all separately, so that's going to be completely separate, so nothing here. We'll simply be using gestures for that, just to make sure there's no conflict with anything else we're doing. So yes, we have all of those weapon swap animations, which are awesome, and we'll be using them, just not here. Cool. So we've got that set up. Now we need to basically create everything for you know, our two-handed weapon. So we created the locomotions. Now let's actually set up our weapon, and yeah, that will be the quite the important part. So let's go out of here. So first things first, this will be two-handed locomotion default. This will be two-handed aim locomotion. We'll change all of this to be the same. We'll just try that out. So we've got all of this, and for now we're not doing anything else here. So that's it. If you've got some awesome draw animations, draw sounds, you know, please drop them in. And then the most important part obviously is going to be the ammo itself. So the ammo basically regulates by far the most. So name, let's give it a name. Single shot, doesn't matter, we don't see it anywhere. And then we have the value. So fire rate, now that's going to be quite the important thing. By default, the fire rate, I think for the pistol is 10. We'll just leave it at that. Now clip size, that is definitely going to be different. I'm just going to go with 30 in a mag. That's it. Reload duration, I'll just keep that the same because you know, similar animations just makes a lot of sense. Then the crosshair, so luckily we have a default for that. So crosshair default, again the same, Don't need to change anything here. I mean, I'm not going to. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to. We are changing raycast to spherecast. And here we are going to be, for now, just for now, we'll drop in those default prefabs. Again, this is just temporary because we'll be replacing all of it at some point. Muzzle and impact, but for now we'll keep it as is. Push force to 100 as well. I think that's fine. Duration. Yeah, really keeping this all exactly the same at the moment. Now recoil, single fire, the same, and this the same as well. So not really changing much here compared to the pistol. Don't need ammo. This is not a projectile based. Not going to have any audio clips for now. And then when it comes to the animations, obviously that is where we need to drop some in. Rifle, holster reload. So we need the single fire. So single fire, where is single fire? Stand fire, single. There we go. Stand fire, single. I'm just dropping in revolver gestures for now as well as the mask. Same here. They mask the same thing. They don't. That's why it doesn't literally doesn't matter. And we need the stand relaxed reload. It's a cool pack though, because as you can see, you have unjammed, jammed, things like that. Really cool stuff. Anyway, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The only thing I would like to basically copy over from the pistol, just to make sure it's the same, or from the one-handed. It's in the basic. Our actions, which is literally just a 1. And I'm going to just copy that over. So that's a basic burst shake, so that the camera shakes a bit while we're shooting. It's cool. It's a nice touch, and I just want that to be the same. Cool. So other than that, we don't really need to change anything here. Everything is set up as as default. Yes, I'm aware there's no audio clips. It's just would take too much time to go through all of that as well. And just make sure the crosshair and everything is set up. It's quite important. And that's it. So focus time, that's one of the things you might want to play with as well, between different weapons, some of them being faster than other, things like that. It's pretty cool that we have that type of control. But yeah, it's really similar. So now let's change that up. Let's duplicate this. Let's make sure we change those IDs just in case. I don't know if it's really that important, but yeah. So this will be for burst. We might want to increase recoil for burst here. So burst shot. Fire rate, I'm keeping that the same, or maybe a bit lower actually. Yeah, I don't think I'm really going to change all that much. The only thing is, increase the spread a tiny bit. You can play around with that, whatever makes you happy. And then here for the animation, we do need burst in there. So fire burst. And yeah, that's it. Nothing else. Cool. Then and we need to do continuous as well, of course. So auto, I'm just going to call it auto, it just makes more sense to me. For auto fire, just want to make sure there's no issues, so changing the ID. Auto shot, let's just do that back to 10. Recoil is going up, min spread is going up, And again, I'm not going to pretend these values are any good. It's just to have a difference, just so you know how you can make it work. But I definitely suggest playing around with it, see what works for you. And then yeah, continuous, that's quite important. And then everything else just remains pretty much the same here. There's no difference. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Sweet. So all of that is set up. Really nice. Really nice stuff. Let's save. Make sure that's set up correctly. So we've got our two things. So what we really need to do now is obviously come up with a weapon. So let's grab one and do the whole placement thing, just like we did with the pistol. So I'm going to go to well, we can close the animations now. We don't need those anymore. Polygon Military, prefabs, weapons. Yeah, let's have a look. Those are a bit too big for just the defaults. Okay, there's no... That's interesting, so we need to go to presets. There we go, that's more like it. This one looks awesome. This is a really cool one. Or just this one, actually. This is really basic. I like that. So yeah, we'll be using this for now. So rifle 3. Okay. Let's open our plugins again. Go to prefabs. Open up our weapon placement. There we go. So this is where we have our pistol. Let's get out of 2D view. So here's our pistol, and we need to be placing our weapon for it to be matching. So let's drop that in. And the important thing here, obviously, is simply that it matches the muzzle. So the muzzle needs to be in the same place. Or at least needs to match. I think that's really what it's about. There we go. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down, obviously. However, I'm going to realign the muzzle itself to be more forward. These are longer weapons. It just makes more sense to do it that way. There we go. Make sure you turn off that mesh collider. Shouldn't be there. And awesome. Cool. Let's get rid of that pistol. And this is now our placement. Sweet. Yeah, let's turn off this for now. So I'm going to add a simple trigger, Q, just for testing. Key down, Q. There we go. Draw weapon, and then we're going to draw our two-handed. Let's focus on our awesome player again. There we go. So Q, as you can see now, we have our two-handed weapon, and the important thing here is that you know, it's the correct state when aiming. Don't go switching now between crouch, because then it won't work. So what I'll do is I'll go to the distance is good, but we need to make sure it works well. So where is our trigger for combat, start aim. So for now, mouse up, right, I'm going to be removing that. There we go. And this is where the weapon needs to fit perfectly, because it's the aim that is the most important one. If it doesn't fit perfect, I mean, if it looks a tiny bit off when relaxed, doesn't really matter because that has absolutely no impact. Obviously, you know, try to make it as good as possible on both, but it doesn't actually have any impact. It does with aim because the muzzle is attached to it, so that's where we're shooting at. Now, because we placed rotation, etc., same as the pistol, in terms of rotation, this should be pretty much perfect. We shouldn't be making too many changes to that. The only thing we do need to change, obviously, is just placement. So let's have a look here. There we go. And let's try to make that fit as good as possible. Now, in case you're wondering, you know, I am using Cinti here. Placement can never be, with the hands, can never be exactly as good as with, you know, as it should be with the animations. Although it seems pretty damn good. Don't get me wrong. But you know, Cinti hand bones are hands are differently rigged. So you know, it will never be exactly perfect. There's nothing we can do about that. It's, you know, it's simply has a slightly different rig. So but we're getting there. It's I think it looks pretty okay. We do have this weird gap, which, yeah, seems a bit odd, I'm not gonna lie. However, you know, as you can see, you know, because normally these fingers would be closer, but the Cinti hands don't have these fingers. The rig doesn't. I mean, sorry, the rig doesn't. So it won't be exactly the same as with the original animations, but there's very, very, very little we can do about that, except if you want to re-rig the whole thing, which I really, really don't. Cool. So yeah, this placement is fine. I'll do a quick snap of the placement. There we go. But yeah, as you can see, you know, there's a slight IK issue with the second hand. Yeah, let's just focus first on this. So what I'm going to do as well is I'll let's see if that works on combat. Stop aim, not crouched. Let's run these ones. Oh, sorry. Let's have a look. How does this look in the inside of the player's hands? And yeah, we have this weird little clipping a bit, which doesn't actually look that great. I'm not gonna lie, really doesn't. It definitely indicates that rotation is off. You'd expect it to be oh, yeah, let's turn this off for now. Expect it to be slightly different, actually. Bit higher up. Yeah, this is somewhat what you'd expect it to be in idle. So I'm actually a bit annoyed because, but yeah, then it really really doesn't match like this anymore. And I think personally, my impression is that it definitely has something to do with rig and a situation for Cinti models, because the hands are different. So what I'll do is let's see if we can create something around that. Let's see if we can reposition things, because that would be nice. Maybe really exaggerate it, but yeah, we'll have a look. Because as you can see, that's how it, you know, that's, to be honest, that's how it should look in idle. It really is. keep doing that. Sorry. Yeah, this really is how it pretty much should look like in idle. I mean, that looks pretty awesome, by the way. But it really, really isn't what it should look like in aim. So we have two different situations there, and that's quite annoying. So we'll try to see if we can adjust that. That's fine. We have both values. I copied them over both. So yeah, well, let's have a look and let's see if we can do something with that. Cool. So let's set up the inventory part. Let's do that straight away. Let's not wait with that. So we have basic pistol. We have metal pistol. So I'm going to duplicate basic pistol. Let's rename that to. I'm just going to call it. You know, it's an. I think it's an M16. Yeah, those are not the icons I took over, but it's fine, whatever. I know it's the wrong icon. Doesn't matter. Category is primary. So nothing, weapons, primary. Primary. And then here, make sure you select it as well, M16. Yeah, this really needs to match, because otherwise you'll get some conflicts. On equip, so we have player draw, so we need that to be two-handed. We need the model to do the same thing, two-handed. Then we're going to attach to the right hand. And yeah, here is where things will be, obviously will be slightly different. So the model in the inventory is never going to be aiming. So we can use those values for the placeholder. We'll be doing in a bit. And then we need to change the ammo type to, I think M16 by default is burst, but it could also have single. So let's just do single. I think this is one of those weapons that in most games, at least, I'm not saying in real life because I have no clue whatsoever, but at least in most games it's single and burst, and that's it. So yeah, let's try that. We'll be adding the animations here at some point as well, by the way. So yeah, okay, let's keep that for now. Then what we need to do is we need to create that placeholder prefab, just like we did with the one-handed weapon, so that we can just have the default that kind of matches in a way. Cool, so let's set this up correctly. So first off, we need to go to two-handed weapon. We can close this for now. Two-handed, and we need to adjust these values compared to some of the snips we created. And I'll start off with the aim. Well, actually no, with the default, and we'll see if we can adjust it in aim. Something I never really tried, to be completely fair. So let's see. That's definitely. I'll be completely fair. That is definitely one of the things that is slightly different. You know, with using Cinti, they're amazing. But yeah, for hand placements, that can sometimes be an issue, as you know, their rig is not the same. But in this case, it might literally be these animations. I'm not sure. Who knows? So okay, we've got this placement, and this is for correct placement while idle, and we'll start off from there. Cool, so let's go to play mode. Let's switch. I think it was Q. This looks cool though. I like this. This looks awesome. So yeah, switch. Sorry about that. So scene, gun placement. We've got the model. And I can't really remember how I did it actually for the inventory pistol. Yeah, so okay, so we drag this out. Then we create an empty parent, and that's all set to 0. And I think that's it. I don't think the inventory pistol has anything else. So 0. Ah yeah, we have the position. Okay, so just to make sure the structure is right. So I think if we copy over this, I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Paste it here, component values, and then we set all of this to 0. It should be correct. There we go. Cool. So this is the placement for yeah, so this is what we need to keep in mind. So copy component, and then everything else scaled 1. Yeah, all perfect scales. Cool. So create empty. So this is inventory 2, and it create empty. This is placement. Let's just call this, yeah, place holder two-handed. So 0, 0, 0. The placement needs our values, so component values. And then in here, everything on 0 should be the weapon. So we can drag in this placeholder. There we go. Then unpack. This is inventory M16, and then we can just drag that in wherever it is. Military, shooter. Modular presets, rifle 3. Cool, everything's set to 0. Yeah, and we should be good here. So let's drag this into our prefabs as well. And there we go. So we have the M16 and we have our pistols. So now we can go to our scene here. Let's just save just to be sure nothing goes wrong. On equip. Attach from right hand, so we need this to be M16, and we need this to be M16. Sweet. Now what we need to do as well, by the way, so we have attach, so we can copy that over on unequip. No, we actually have unequip. Okay, that is... Let's try this to player, because I'm pretty sure it didn't unequip the inventory pistol. So let's try that again. That's interesting. Cool. Ah, yeah, of course it does work. Apologies, I'm getting confused again. We didn't do it from the inventory, so that's why it was still there. I'm just switching it back. There we go. Cool. So we have some on start. So I'm going to add the rifle to the on start as well. So on start actions. Change all of this. Maybe it was these actions. Ah, yeah. There we go. So we're adding our M16 to the inventory. Yeah, we need some bullets as well. So ammo, give ammo. let's just do single ammo basic single, and we'll add 90 bullets, 30 in a mag. That's fine. Add to storage, and that's it. Sweet. So yeah, I think we should be able to try this out now. Let's see if this actually works as we intended to. And in order to properly test this out, let's actually add some trigger to our in-game menu. So trigger, key down. You can use whatever key you want, so you can have EI for inventory. I'm just going to use escape because it's one menu that does it all, so to me it kind of seems to make sense. So we'll do escape. Let's add some local variables. Is active, and this is a bool. By default it's not going to be active. Just to make sure that with saving and everything, it's no. So yeah, let's just keep it as is. So conditions, let's drag those to the top. So conditions open, and then bool, local variable, drag in our menu. Is if it's active, then group, drag in that menu. Duration, I'm going to do that 0.1, otherwise it's a bit much. And then a clause, if it is already active, then we're going to do the opposite, so it will be, there we go. And then we need to set that bool as well, of course, when we press the button, which will happen immediately. So that's the first thing to happen. You don't want to happen that to happen after the delay. There we go. So it sets it to active and it sets it to inactive. Sweet. So yeah, by default, this should then all be turned off. And let's try this out and let's hope it works, and we'll go from there. There we go. We'll press escape. We have our M16, which is awesome. As you can see, it automatically goes to two-handed. However, it did still keep this, so you definitely need to have a look at that, because that's interesting. It's keeping the model, which is not supposed to happen. Oh, I'm not sure where I switch. There we go. But yeah, obviously the problem is that when we start aiming, you know, it's no longer correct. But we need to set up aim conditions anyway, as the aim conditions are not set right now to work with both. And you know, we might be able to change the placement in there, because I do think it's, you know, it's quite essential that it looks good in both situations and not just aim. But considering aiming happens so snappy fast, we can just change placement during the aim, so we can just do it in there. So yeah, pretty cool. If we're in crouch, obviously you know, we're changing locomotions wrongly, so cool. Then another thing we need to do is we create a global variable. So we already have a bunch here. We're creating another one, and this is we can align this with inventory as well. So this is a let's do a string, weapon type, and basically what we'll need to do is we'll need to set up, if we select a one-handed or two-handed, we'll need to set up our weapon type. So go to inventory, basic, on equip, string, global variable, weapon type, We'll just keep it simple, 1, 2. We'll need that for the metal pistol as well. One, 2. And we'll need it for the M16, and this will obviously be the opposite. This will be 2. There we go. Perfect. And we'll address the model in a bit. We'll have a look at that. There will be some simple solutions. Cool. And now when we have a look at all of our conditions here, basically, whenever there is a condition where we change locomotions inside of the condition with the actions, we'll need to set up the same, but then for one-handed and two-handed. So yeah, that's the approach we'll need to take. So when we have a look at run, for example, in run, we're not doing that. We're not changing any of the locomotion, so we're good with run. Really doesn't matter. When it comes to combat, for reload, we're not doing that either. So again, we're good there. When it comes to shooting, yes, these will have some conditions for sure, but those will mostly be just related to the fire mode that we set up. And when it comes to the aiming, this is the first one where we'll need to make a change. So as you can see, you know, we have this, but yeah, unfortunately, we'll need to make sure that it always is reliable. So we'll go to string. We'll set up weapon type 1 just for the default. Copy this over and do it here. And we'll need to duplicate them. So duplicate, let's duplicate the first one. Go to the actions and then duplicate. I'll drag it in here. Start aim 1, start aim 2. And then for this one, I think this is for crouch. So crouch 1. And let's already duplicate that and crouch 2. So yeah, it's a bit elaborate, but that's, you know, it becomes quite the elaborate system anyway. So first off, so that's 2. So we'll need to set that to 2. I know I'm fully aware that we're not changing any locomotions here, but once we test this out, I just want it to be reliable and I want it to always be correct. So duplicate, and we'll create drag in 2. So here, locomotion crouch means that we'll need to do the same for locomotion crouch. So it's just the default, and drag it in. We're good there. So that's start aim. Then for stop aim, we have the exact same thing. So for stop aim, we're going to do the same. So 1. Let's call this crouch 1 as well. And then duplicate both of them. So crouch 2. No, just default 2, and then crouch 2. Let's already make sure this is correct. So 2. There we go. Let's simply duplicate those clauses. There we go. And let's duplicate this one as well. And there we go. So we have the two-handed one. So we should be good for most of it. Now, obviously, the only remaining one is the trigger for crouch itself. And yeah, that will that will need some differences as well. So we already have so many here. Like, let's be honest, we already have 5, which is insane. But as you can see, they're all of them do something with locomotion. So that means we'll need to duplicate all of them. So I think the most important one here is that when it comes to the actions, we need to make sure this is, you know, this is not going to create an issue. So I'm going to just call them 1, and we'll create actions 1. You can rename them properly if you want. And then I'm going to duplicate the whole bunch. So duplicate. So this is the new set, and I'm just going to drag them in that order, just to save some time. So this one is going to have, well, are they actually in order? Okay, so yeah, that's that was a good point actually. So let's call them 2. I know this is a bit much, but we need to make sure this is done correctly, without having to go through the whole bunch again, just to make sure. So 2, 2, and I'm just going to add a number here, just to make sure they're actually done in order in our conditions, because it might be that I change that around. Who knows? 5. Cool. So let's have a look at the conditions. So yes, this is definitely 1. This is our new one, so that's 2, 1. Then this is 2. This is 5. See, so that's why it's good to keep in mind. 3 and 4. So yeah, definitely not in order there. So we'll need to duplicate this one. So that's actions 2, 2. Then this one, that's the 5. So we need to duplicate that. 2, 5. Duplicate this one, 3, and duplicate this one, 4. Cool. I'm not going to check the conditions again in this case. So all I'm really doing here is just for now just replace them. I know we'll play with placement in a bit as well. So two-handed aim. Aim crouch. Default crouch. Nothing actually, it's just a reset. And default crouch as well. Cool. So yes, now we need to go set up all of those same string conditions. So string global variable weapon type 1. Can just copy this over, and it's actually easy to identify because actions 1 and then the other ones will be actions 2. So actions 1, copy, copy, and yeah, I'll be fair, this is definitely the place where something can go wrong, so make sure to double check everything here. 1 as well. Cool. So then here we can start from the bottom. In this case it will be 2, 2. Basically you just, every time you just skip skip one of them. 2 and 2. Awesome. So theoretically theoretically, let's just say it like that, that should work, and we can easily test this out, of course, because we have our draw here, and we can do it through the inventory. So we can just test it out. So for one, let's try this out. Let's make sure everything is still correct, everything is still functioning as it should. And yeah, this will be the last time you know, we'll have to duplicate stuff like that to work, because we only have 2 weapon types, one-handed and two-handed. So this is all still good. This is all still good. This is still good. Sliding, and we're still good. Yeah, awesome. So Q, we have, oh, that doesn't actually, that was really dumb of me, because we're not setting that. So now we are, so, okay. So this is functional. I see the aim isn't, so need to check that. Yeah, no, there's something wrong with the aim conditions. But at least the crouch, this is still functional. So let's have a look at aim here. Why is aim not doing the way it should be working? Key down, mouse down, right, start aim. Oh, I called them all 1. That's really smart. Sorry about that. Okay, well, at least that's an easy fix. Cool. Awesome. So aim is done as well. So yeah, what we need to have a look at now is with the aiming, how we're going to adjust this model to fit perfectly. So what we need to do in that case is basically have it you know, move position, and that's one of the things that you know, it's kind of necessary but not the easiest to set up. If you are not using Cinti models and it works fine for you, lucky. You know, it differs, and it's not just Cinti models, by the way. That's kind of the issue with Unity. Multiple rigs, multiple skeletons means different outcomes, and that can be quite annoying. So we'll be adjusting that just to make sure it looks as good as can be without too much effort. Cool, so in order to fix our lost issues with weapon placement and the models, let's make sure for one that we've disabled the model on our two-handed prefab. So that was just a weapon placement, so we can disable this now. No longer need that. And then secondly, on this, we'll make the change. So we're not going to do it with all of our aiming conditions, etc. So we're going to add 2 triggers here. And 2 actions, which will be really simple. Trigger and actions. And we need to do it like this, by the way. So not in prefab mode. Don't go in prefab mode. We need to do it in the scene, and you'll see in a bit why. We'll drag these in. Drag these in. This is on aim. And this is on aim. So stop aiming, start aiming. Then we're going to do a transform, because this is going to be instant. There's not going to be any delay where you see the weapon sliding or something like that. We'll do game object, and we'll drag in the M16 from the scene like this. Then we're going to change position, and we enable it all, because sometimes I don't know if that's still the case, but at least it used to be the case that sometimes with doing this, then the scale would be off. So let's reconfirm the scale just to be entirely sure. So we're going to place it differently. There we go. And there we go. Sweet. Then let's copy this over, paste it here as well, and in this case, all 0. There we have it. Overrides, apply all. Perfect. So let's give this a try. But before we do that, let's go to our preferences. Let's go to inventory, M16, and obviously, you know, quite quite dumb of me in this case. So the reason why on unequip didn't trigger with this is because we have different weapon types. So we have primary and we have secondary. So on unequip we need to sheath, or no, we can just copy those over actually. So on unequip we need to remove these as well. So basically where we have these, so attach, we're just going to duplicate, and we're going to duplicate this one as well. We'll put them on top if possible. So there we go. So these are the attach actions. These will be remove, so not detach by the way, remove, and that should be fine. We can try it out, but it does mean we'll need to do the same here as well. So on unequip, sorry. Duplicate this one. Let's drag it to the top, remove, and duplicate this one. Let's drag it to the top and remove. Perfect. And yeah, let's try this out. And technically it should all be working. So yeah, let's go for the best there. There we go. So that's all still working as it should, of course, but yeah. Then we equip this, and let's go to scene just to be sure, because the pistol is so much smaller. And as you can see, we only have the weapon placement and we have the inventory clone. We don't have anything else, as it should be. And now when we aim, it's repositioned and it fits, and it goes back to that stance. And as you can see, you don't notice it at all that we're actually you know, moving the weapon. It's just literally you know, it's instant, which is awesome. Cool. So good stuff. Then all we really need to do is you know, have those animations play, and there's a couple of ways we can do this. So for one, you could technically do it in the inventory. The problem here is that if you do it in the inventory, it will do that for you know, if you change pistol types as well. And then at the same time, another thing actually is that because the inventory is open, you don't actually see anything happen. Like, it's literally just instant. So we created two weapon types on purpose. So we have you know, we have our one-handed and we have our two-handed. So let's open up that menu again. So here we go. So we have one-handed and two-handed. So the idea is that we can quickly switch between whatever is equipped as the one-handed and whatever is equipped as the two-handed. So that's the idea here, and that's the only time we're going to be using the switch animations, not in the inventory menu, because that makes no sense. You don't see it happening, so why would you? You know, it's a lot of extra steps for something you can't actually see. So yeah, that's what we need to set up, quickly swapping between your primary and your secondary. So let's do that. So let's turn this off because we don't actually need the menu for this at the moment. And remember this test trigger we had here. We could keep that. We could add it to combat as well. I think I'm just gonna add it to combat. Makes more sense. So let's get rid of this test trigger. And then key down, and yeah, we'll be selecting the Q here. I'm using Q. You can use whatever button you want. I think tab actually would make a lot of sense as well, but I find the placement of tab a bit more annoying, but tab would be a good button as well. And then obviously we'll need a bunch of conditions, and we'll set that up so that for one, so let's name them already, conditions, swap weapons, And this way we'll be able to easily switch between primary and secondary, and we'll have some animations play as well. So the way we'll set this up is we're going to compare our weapon types. So we have variable string, we have our weapon type, which is one-handed. Let's copy that over, and we have two-handed. And then we need to create some actions. Now we can't do these actions yet because first we need to basically set all of that up. So first off, let's go to preferences. Let's go to variables. Then we're going to create two new ones. So we're going to do active primary, and this is a game object, and we're going to do active secondary. So let's class them as inventory as well, because that's what they are. Perfect. Then let's open up inventory. We'll take the metal pistol, and we have all of our actions. So you know we're doing all of this basically. So what we're going to do, let's create some actions here. Copy literally everything. So we need to copy everything over. There we go. Then let's make sure this is becoming player here as well, player, just to be entirely sure it goes well. I think invoker should be working, but want to be sure. And then we're going to duplicate this set. So we have two sets of actions. And then game creator, we're going to create conditions. I don't know what went wrong here. That was my bad. I'm going to create conditions, and these will be part of this. So these conditions, we're basically going to call upon that again. So on the weapon type, so variable string, weapon type, if it's one-handed already, we're just going to do all of these steps like we set up before. However, and let's copy this over, create a new class. If we were in two-handed, two, there we go. I want to drag in these actions, but I want something else to happen in these actions. So if I'm holding a two-handed weapon and I'm switching to one-handed, I want to play an animation. I want to have that switch going from two-handed to one-handed. For the one-handed, I don't have an animation where they put in the one-handed and just take another. I think it would look weird as well in a way. It doesn't really help much. So for but you know, once switching from the two-handed to one-handed, I do want an animation for that, just because it looks cool. It adds some immersion. So we're going to do gesture. There we go. Player. Then we need to find an animation. So again, I'm using this animation pack from MoCap Online. So I'm using this one. It's called Relax Swap, and it's from 2 to 1. Now, stand relax to swap to 1 works pretty well even in crouched and situations like that. So it's actually pretty good to use. It works pretty well, to be honest. We don't want to turn on wait to complete. We don't want to do that. However, we want this to play on our inventory character as well. Just so he does the same gestures. And then we basically need to add some weights because we don't want some of the models to straight away attach. So we're going to do 0.4 weight after this. So after we draw one-handed on the character, then before, we don't want this to go instantly. Then we wait 0.4 seconds for the gesture to play. It will remove because at that point, the animation is kind of holstering. So then he's going to remove it from the right hand, and then we want to wait 0.65 seconds before he attaches the AR. Now these values of 0.4, 0.65 are completely based on my animations. If you're using different animations, simply play around with the times, see what works, play the animation. That's it. I mean, there's nothing else to it. It's literally just testing it out. There's no magic trick. And that's it. Those are our conditions. So these conditions, let's give them a name. You know, conditions metal weapon, or metal pistol, sorry, metal pistol. And there we go. Then on the metal pistol, we're going to remove all of these. But before we set up, you know, what's going to happen here, make sure to set up these conditions for the basic pistol and the M16 as well. So for, I'll show you the end result. For basic pistols, it's literally the same as this. There's no difference whatsoever. Just copied it over, and the animation plays on the same. For the AR, the animation setup, and which I'll show you in a bit, is on this one, on one-handed instead of on two-handed, because we're switching the other way around. But yeah, copy this over, do the same setup for the basic pistol and for the AR. I'll show you the end result, and then you can correct it if something went wrong. Cool. So once done, you know, make sure to drag these conditions into your prefabs. So I have the prefabs for pistol, and basic pistol. So if I collapse all of these, that's actually a smart thing to do. So let me collapse all of this stuff. There we go. You can see that for let's collapse the entire clause. Basic pistol, metal pistol are identical. There's no difference here. I mean, obviously the actions are slightly different. We're drawing something else, but we set that up before, so you should have that. And basic pistol, other than that, the setup is the same. Now for the M16, the difference is, like I said before, for the M16, we're setting up the gestures on the first one. So if we are holding one-handed, then we want to play the gestures from swapping to one-handed, from one-handed to two-handed. And these are the timings if you are using the same animations. Again, if you're using different animations, you'll need to use different timings. So we have a 1 second wait after we draw, and we have a 0.3 wait. Now make sure, just to be, you know, entirely sure everything works properly, that you remove it from the player, not invoker. I think invoker should work, but let's just be sure here. And yeah, that's it. So we've then basically removed all of this from the actual inventory itself. And what we need to do on the inventory, so we need to call those conditions, and we can drag in our conditions metal pistol. Let me remove it from our scene because we no longer need it in our scene. And then we're going to do game object secondary, and we're going to drag in those same conditions. And that's it. So that way we have the metal pistol like that, we have the basic pistol like that, and then we drag in conditions for basic, conditions for etc. And for the M16, do the opposite. Now the important thing, and that's one of the mistakes I made before, we need to make sure that this goes into active secondary, and I think I made the mistake here with the M16. Yeah, that goes in, should go be primary, sorry about that. And then the pistol is a secondary weapon as well, not a primary weapon, so my bad on that. And yeah, that's it. So slight change in how it works, but it was essential to first set this up and then create these actions just so you could see the conventional way. And now when we go to our swap weapons, it's actually going to be incredibly similar. So what we're going to do, we're going to call conditions, variable, global variable, and we're going to draw our primary. So if we're already on 1, we're going to go to 2, and we're going to secondary. So if we have two-handed, then we're going to our secondary, which is our pistol. If we have one-handed, we're going to our primary, which is a two-handed weapon. Awesome. So yeah, that's the setup for our swap weapons. Now let's try if this works. That would be cool if it worked. And one of the things I noticed, by the way, in the inventory, which kind of bugs me, where is our inventory? Let's completely open this up. Inventory, container items, viewports. No, not yet. Content. Yeah. In item shooter, I forgot to. Item title, there we go. I forgot to turn that off by default. That should be off by default, and it's going to be turned on when we hover over. Cool. So let's hit play here. Okay, now here's the first issue. As you can see, we're not automatically drawing anything. So what we need to do is in our preferences, variables, in weapon type, we need to make sure that we type in the default, which is one-handed is going to be the default. And there we go. Awesome. So let's give this a try. So if we go to our inventory now, we select our M16. We'll see the animation play. He'll grab this, which is, awesome. Cool. I mean, this is how it's supposed to work. Yay, great. And then when we press Q, it's going to store that, draw his pistol. Yes, you can make the extra steps to have the mesh on his leg disappear as well, which, is a cool touch. And if we press Q again, we swap to this. Now, the important thing is that we're really swapping to the active item in our inventory, because the moment we equip it, we select that weapon to be the active weapon. And the reason I'm saying that, so now if we, for example, switch to our metal pistol, wow, it looks exactly the same. I'm not exactly, okay, it looks really similar though. Then we escape, so we have a different pistol in our hands. I'm going for a close-up because I want to make sure I can tell the difference. Okay, we draw that, we have our M16, then we draw our pistol, and it is the metal pistol, and it's not the basic one. So that's the importance of this system. That's why we're working with those global variables, because we want to be sure that it's actually the ones we equip in our slots that are being drawn constantly, which, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, as you can see, it is a bit of a setup, but I think it's essential that you can swap weapons from primary to secondary without having to go to your inventory to do it. It's a pretty basic thing, but as you can see, it takes a bit of time to set up. Now we're going to take the next step, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that when we have our M16, that we can swap firing modes. So we can have single fire, we can have burst fire, and we can have automatic fire or auto fire, just automatic mode basically. And yeah, I want to set that up. It's quite a process as well, but once set up, it's actually really easy to replicate for everything else, and it's just so cool. So let's set up firing modes as well. So for our firing modes, we're going to go to preferences, and we're going to add 2 variables here. So let's call this AR ammo mag, AR ammo storage. Yep. These are both numbers, and what we need to add is a new tag here. Let's call this combat. I think red is fitting for combat. There we go. Now I'm going to add some default values here, so 30 and 90. That matches the same as the M16 has. There we go. Then on our onStart actions, there we go. We're going to change this one. So this is for the ammo, so we'll duplicate that. We're going to do set magazine, global variable AR ammo mag, set storage, global variable AR ammo storage. There we go. The reason we're doing this is that so straight away, you know, at least there will be ammo for that weapon, which is, you know, it's good. And what we're going to do next is we're going to create a new trigger. We can do that here as well. If you think that's a bit much, you can do it separately. So we'll do a new trigger, and I'm going to use key down. I'm going to use V. I don't know why, it's a button we never really use, but it's easily accessible, so that's why, basically. That's why. Then conditions. Then let's call this change, or just fire mode. Fire mode. There we go. Then let's add a condition. So if variable string weapon type is 2, so 2-handed, we'll have this. If you want to add more conditions saying it will only work with these weapons, you'll need to set up an extra like an extra string global variable saying like I don't know, call it fire mode enabled, whatever you want to call it, and then on the weapons that do that, you set that to on or off, something like that. So that way you can select it. There's multiple ways to do it, but let's just set it up now that it works with all, and then, you know, you can always change that yourself. Then we'll create some actions, of course, and we're also going to create a list variable. There we go. So these this list variable will contain 3 actions. So we'll have 3 fire modes: single fire, burst fire, auto fire. In these actions, we're going to execute actions. There we go, execute actions, variable, list variable. Then we drag in our list variable, and we're going to do next, and then wait to finish. So what this will do is it will automatically go to the next one. So that means that the first one needs to be single, because that's the default, and then once we press V, it's going to go to next, next, and on repeat, so we can endlessly switch to between all fire modes. So we'll need some actions here again. So action, let's give them proper names. Actions single, actions burst, and actions auto. And there we go. Cool. We'll drag those in. Awesome. Now before we set those up, I do want to make sure that we can actually fire in these modes as well. So when we go to our shooting, we only have this set up, so we already did create fire mode. So what we'll do is add a new clause for burst. Now auto is not going to be in here, by the way. That needs to have a separate type of input. Burst. I'll do burst amount 3. I think that's enough. You can change to whatever. I think 3 is pretty common actually, but maybe that's just the games I play and that's it. Let's add auto as well, and auto is actually going to have a different trigger, and that's mouse. Wow, mouse down, left. Also the left one. We need some conditions for that. It's quite important, so we need some conditions for that as well. I'm going to drag those under shooting, just to make sure they're grouped together. Shooting automatic, just to separate them. And then the clause obviously is going to be the same string for fire mode, if it's set to auto. And then actually the actual action surprisingly is exactly the same, because this is going to be repeating. So while the mouse down, this is going to keep executing, meaning it will keep automatically shooting. Cool. So yeah, pretty simple in that regard. So what we need to do next is set up these actions for all of them. So this is the first one. This will be single, and for this we'll be using some custom actions that'll be added in the description, that basically take the current value of ammo and store them in a variable. Now that's really similar to how the ammo UI does that as well in the examples, and we're going to grab that just so we can double check that it's actually correct, because I want to make sure you see that it actually is completely functional. So let's go to shooter examples, scenes. Make sure to save your scene. Let's hit save. Go to scenes. Let's pick up combat, and we're simply going to copy over ammo UI, common ammo UI. Again, go back to our scene. We're going to pop this in. There we go. And it will scale. It will be fine. It's not going to be pretty. That's not the point. The point is that the numbers are just going to match. Sweet. So let's go back to our trigger combat. There we go. Fire mode. So action single. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using our custom actions. So I think they're called sync. So sync clip, and then sync storage. So of the player, we're going to store those in clip is mag, and we're going to store this in storage. Then I am adding a really small weight. It's really small, but I just want to be sure it works. So 0, 0, 1, basically. Then we're going to change the ammo type. So this is single, so that means we need to change it to single. I'm aware we already have that, but keep in mind that we can always switch between this. So ammo, give ammo, player. No, not give ammo, sorry. Change ammo, sorry. Change weapon ammo, player. And then we need to do ammo basic single, because ammo is for the AR. So ammo basic single. Then we need to set the values. So same one. And then we're going to set our magazine. So make sure to use set, not add, quite important. Set magazine, and then global variable, and it's going to come from this one, AR ammo mag. Now the reason we're doing this, by the way, just to explain, is that ammo is your magazine and your storage is tied to your ammo item. So when we switch fire modes, that actually means that we're changing ammo and we no longer have any ammo for this weapon. So that's why we're syncing those values, so that it gives you the impression that despite that we're actually changing ammo types, that we're not really changing anything. We still have the same ammo in the magazine, we still have the same in the storage, and it's just really fluent. It's really cool actually, but yeah. So let's duplicate this again, and then do set storage, and we need to make sure we grab that from the right value as well. Awesome. And then we need to assign the firing mode. So string global variable fire mode single. I shouldn't have created these. Let's just duplicate them. So much easier. Duplicate, duplicate. I should have thought of that before. There we go. So let's rename these to burst and rename this to auto. Awesome. So yeah, for burst, let's drag in burst to everything. There we go. Let's make sure we call this burst. And then for auto, we drag in auto. There we go, and we'll call this auto. Sweet. And yeah, that's the setup. That's actually that's the setup to switch between all of this. Pretty cool. Now I want to make sure that these have proper names, so I rename them to single, burst, and auto as well, just so we can see that in our UI. And yeah, let's try this out. Cool. So we have bullets, and you know, it's displayed. Awesome. Open it up, and our AR here. Now I'm going to select the player just so you see the actual ammo change as well and the behavior. So you know, single fire. Then I change this to, I press V and nothing happens. Why is nothing happening? So it needs to be 2. Wait, let's have a look. So V, fire mode. Oh, I didn't drag in the. Yeah, of course, I removed the actions and then I forgot to drag them in. The new ones. Okay, there we go. Save. Apologies. Cool. By the way, if I press V now, nothing's going to happen because this is a one-handed and we didn't set it up to work with one-handed. Cool. So yeah, single fire. We see the bullet count as well. Let's select the player so you can actually see the ammo change. Then we press V. You see ammo change to burst, and now we shoot burst. Then we press V again. We see it's changed to auto, and we shoot in auto mode, which is awesome. And then once we, we keep switching fire modes, we're switching ammo, but our ammo count is always identical. And yeah, that's just really cool. That's just really cool. And yeah, there we go. It's pretty awesome. So for the final touch, and I'm aware this video is quite long, but for the final touch, I just want to set up the last thing, which basically is setting up impacts. So I want to have bullet impacts based on materials. I will be using crypto VFX for this. Obviously, link in the description. It's Muzzleflashes and Impacts, I think it's called. And someone actually made the effort to create something on the Game Creator Hub for this, so that we have some integration with Game Creator, which is amazing. So yeah, let's set this up as well as the last thing for this video. So what we'll be using is Impacts and Muzzle Flashes by Crypto. If you're not aware with some of his VFX, absolutely amazing stuff. And we're using this simply because the system is set up to work with, well, as you can see, different types of materials. It's just really cool. So there's water impacts, there's different types of, you know, metal impact, all of it. And it's just going to save so much time and do it so much better than if we'd create something custom for this. It's awesome. And yeah, we'll be using this combined with the game creator integration. Now, this does require some modification of scripts. If you're not comfortable with that, if you don't want to do that, obviously you can just skip this. However, I do want to do this. I haven't actually tried this yet, so I'll literally be following along the steps with everyone else. And yeah, let's try this out. Let's set this up. Obviously, I have tried this asset because I've had it for ages. However, I've never tried it with the actual game creator integration. So that'll be really cool to try. Hopefully, it will, you know, work the way we want it to. And yeah, let's get started on that. So this is the integration. So we have an explanation of everything we need to do. As you can see, it's actually not that much. We just need to change some lines of code. So, you know, as it says, always back up your project, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to back up the project. I am simply going to be backing up the scripts we're changing, because, you know, don't really need to alter anything else. We just change the scripts and, you know, we're good. Just back up the scripts and we're good. So make sure we download this. And then we have it. And then we're going to open this up in our project. But like it said, make sure you have Game Creator 1 with Shooter installed. Yes, we did that. Make sure we have Impacts and Muzzleflashes installed first. I did that as well. If you haven't, make sure you install that first and import it into the project. And then import the Unity package. Now, before I do that, I need to make sure, because I'm using HCRP, that it's set up to work with HCRP. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but that's just the approach I'm going to take. So here I have CryptoFX, Muzzleflashes, HCRP, and URP patches. So going to install the HCRP patch, import, perfect. So we've patched that. Then I'm going to open that package I downloaded, and as you can see, there's a bunch of things here. Now, as you can see, there are a couple of things that are going to be replaced, and we'll still need to make some changes. So what I'll do in this case, so as you can see, shooter mono. So I'm going to go to that folder, plugins. Don't hit import yet. Shooter mono. I'm going to open that in Explorer. I'm going to copy that entire folder, and I'm going to back that up. So, you know, need to be sure that it's backed up, and, you know, that's the way to do it. Now that I've backed up the entire folder, I can hit import. And you know what? I'll even take a small snip just to see what's actually being replaced or altered or anything like that, just in case something goes wrong and we need to go back. I'm going to hit import. Cool. Now, before we do anything else, let's see if this all is still functional, if we didn't break anything or break any functionality that we need to redo. Like, for example, with melee upgrades, that's something that happens. Once you install that, you actually need to reassign a bunch of things. So let's just check if it's all still good. No, we're still good. Still working. I'm even going to swap, which I can't do that yet because I don't have it equipped yet. Awesome. Cool. So we're good here. So we've done that. So now let's make sure that we set up everything else correctly. So what we need to do, so we've imported this, and then in mono, we need to go to ammo and change align. So we're in mono, so we go to mono, assets, and then ammo, and this looks like an icon, but it's not. And we're going to open this up in Visual Studio, and then it says at no, I don't want to give feedback. Then at line 549. That's quite the scroll. 549. There we go. So we should be seeing impact.transform blah blah blah. That's what we see as well. That's good. So add this. So we need to add code right after that line in the if statement. So in the if statement, and we're going to paste that code that was given. Cool. So let's hope this works. And then at line 607, so not that far along, where it says impact transform. Now this used to be 607. Obviously we added a bunch of code, so it's no longer 607. But it's actually this line of code here, this one. So that's now 613. And we need to do the same thing, add a bunch of codes inside of the same if statement. So let's do that. Cool. Then going to hit save, and don't worry that we backed up this entire script, so we should be good. It's going to compile the script changes we made. Cool. Let's see if we have any errors. No errors. We're good there. So then next up, what we need to do is we need to go to our weapon. So let's collapse this. Go to shooter. For now, let's just try the pistol first. Let's first go with our pistol. So one-handed. Then in bullets basic. We need to replace the impact. I'm going to remove the muzzle so we can actually see what we're doing as well, and we'll place a crypto muzzle as well, by the way. So yeah, in the muzzle, we then need to use impact effect generator. There we go. And then in the environment, we need to set up, the impact. So it needs to have a collider, obviously. And then we're going to add material type component. And then we select the type. So this is a car, so this will be metal. Let's do something else. This one will be material type. It's going to be foliage. Let's do the same here. Foliage. Let's select our ground, our floor, material type. I don't know, dirt. I think that's fitting. Cool. And then the house, the gas station. That's just one building, really. Ah, okay. These have several separates. Okay, cool. We'll do material type concrete. I think it's concrete or plaster. I don't know. Let's just try it out. Cool. So let's hit save. Going to hit play. And I've only set this up now on the pistol, so that's the only one I can actually try out, by the way, just to be absolutely clear. Cool. Okay, so they still need to compile. Because okay, wait, let me wait until it's done compiling. That's annoying. Cool. So yeah, we have the metal impacts. As you can see, it's a bit greenish. That's because I need to add the diffusion profile. Let's see if I can quickly do that, if it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. So let's go to the material. Yeah, I need to add the diffusion profile. There we go. And that's just awesome. I don't know what else to say. That's just really awesome. Obviously for foliage it might not be the oh, these don't have colliders, do they? I don't think these actually have colliders. No, they don't have colliders. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. These, yeah, it's first time, so they still need to compile, so let's give it a second to compile these shaders. There we go. And we have concrete impact as well, which is so damn cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. This is really cool. Cool. So yeah, we've set that up. That's work. Oh yeah, did we do the ground floor? You know, need to be sure which one actually is that correct mesh. Oh yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's so cool. Sweet. So this is all set up now as well. I absolutely love this, by the way. This is really nice. Sweet. So then the next thing we need to do is an actual muzzle flash. So we don't have a muzzle flash at the moment. So let's have a look. Let's go to let's check the default muzzle. Let's see what it actually does. So we have muzzle, and it's just a basic VFX with some light and smoke. Now Crypto obviously has some nice ones as well. So you know, I'll be using those. So we have some prefab muzzle flashes. I don't know which ones would match a pistol, so let me just quickly open that demo. Let's have a look. If you want to save on performance, that's why there's the mobile ones as well. Just to be clear. There's no directional lights. Okay. I think I don't know if this is the oh yeah, muzzle flash 1. That's muzzle flash 1, which I think is perfect. Actually, it's really cool. Might be a bit much for. We can use that for the M16. We can use that for the M16. I think the muzzle flash is a bit much for a pistol. You know, that's a bit much for a pistol. Let's have a look at how this is set up. If we can just what are the controls here? For the demo, does the demo have any controls? Oh, they're actually all displayed here. Cool, that's awesome. So yeah, that's I assume that's 1. Oh, that's really cool as well. That's really cool. That's way too much. That's more shotgun type, which is cool. We can still set up a shotgun as well. That's pretty basic in a good, not in a bad way. We need something a bit more basic for a pistol. And I might be wrong, by the way. I have no clue how. I don't know anything about real guns, so you know, might be completely wrong. Yeah, I'll use the second one. Wait, is that the second one? I have no clue. I'm just going to assume that's the second one. We'll try that. So I'll do 2 and then 1 for the AR. Let's do it like that. So one-handed, we're going to go basic, and we'll set up muzzle flash 1. I'm oh, for the pistol, sorry, this is pistol, so muzzle flash 2. I'm using the non-mobile if you want to save on performance, or if you know they don't display properly on mobile, use the mobile ones. Cool. Then yeah, we'll do the same here. So muzzle, and I'm looking this up, by the way, simply because I want to stay in this folder, impact generator, and it's absolutely amazing that this integration was made for Game Creator, because honestly it's not that easy to do that yourself. Really isn't. Want to highlight that. So yeah, really cool stuff. There we go. Impact effect generator. Okay, all set up. And now let's do the same for our two-handed weapons. Impact generator. And muzzle. And I'm just going to use 1 here, which I think is good. Now the sizing of these might be wrong, but considering it's all the same prefab, we can easily edit that, of course. So impact generator, because yeah, sometimes you know it's a bit too much, but that's okay. It's 1 prefab, or 2 because it's 2 weapons, to edit in that case. So, but at least let's try it out. There we go, and impact generator. Perfect. So I think that's all right. Yeah, cool. Let's go back to our scene. No, don't need to save any changes here. Perfect. Awesome. I think the VFX for the muzzle flash is pretty good as well. Pretty okay with it. But yeah, you can change it if you want. If you don't like it, then let's open up this one as well. Let's see if that works. Awesome. Really cool stuff. Yeah, really like this. It's a nice finishing touch to make sure, you know, it works as good as it can. So that's it for this video. It was quite a long one, but we addressed so much just in this. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.